Hmm? Tapi kalau suara aku tiba-tiba agak kencang. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the International Seminar on Enhancing Sustainable and Digital Food Systems. It is a privilege to be here with all of you today, gathered in a forum dedicated to meaningful dialogue, shared learning, and thoughtful reflection. To begin our program with reflection and gratitude, we invite everyone to take a moment for prayer, each according to their own faith and belief. Let us take a brief pause for this moment of personal prayer. Pray begin. Finish. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem, Indonesia Raya. Please rise. Thank you. Please be seated. Next, we would like to invite the head researcher of the LPDP Equity Program, Professor Tommy Perdana, to deliver his welcome remarks. To Professor Tommy Perdana, the screen is yours.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My voice is clear?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, distinguished Dean of the Faculty of Agriculture, honorable guest speakers, dear colleagues, researchers, students, and friends. Good morning, everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, please allow me to apologize for not being able to join you on site today due to another university commitment that requires me present elsewhere. Even so, I am truly happy and grateful to still be able to join this seminar virtually and connect with all of you. On behalf on the research team, I would like to warmly welcome everyone to the international seminar on enhancing sustainable and digital food systems. It's, it is with pleasure to have with us today not only distinguished speakers, but also very colleagues and friends. First, Ferry G, Associate Professor in Supply Chain Management from the School of Business and Law at Cowan University. Second, Ramadana Safil, Associate Professor in Agribusiness Management from the School of Business, Associate Professor in Agribusiness Management from the Department of Agribusiness Management, Tokyo University of Agriculture. Koblab Chandra Sap, Assistant Professor in Marketing from Chiang Mai University Business School, who is kindly joining us online today. Thank you so much, Pak Ferry, Kang Rama, and Prang for being here and for your willingness to share your knowledge and experience and perspective with us. I believe today is not only about academic discussion, but also about how to strengthening our friendship, collaboration, and share commitment toward a better future for global food systems. I'm also very delighted to see the incredible enthusiasm for this seminar with more than 300 participants joining us both on site and online, showing how this event has connected people across different places and backgrounds. What makes me even happier is the diversity of the participants joining today. We have students, lecturer, researcher, government representative, business practitioners, alumni, and members of the public. More than that, we are bringing together people from different disciplines, institutions, and countries in one shared conversation. This is exactly the kind of collaboration we need in addressing today's global challenges. We are also honored to welcome participants from many international universities, including the University of Queensland, Edinburgh Napier University, Cowan University, Monash University, the University of Edinburgh, the University of Western Australia, University Putra Malaysia, and Vietnam National University, International University, alongside many universities and organizations across Indonesia. Your presence truly enriches this seminar and reflects the importance of the global partnership and friendship in advancing sustainable food systems. This seminar is organized as a part of the Matchmaking Research Interest Program that's supported by LPDP under the Minister of Higher Education, Science, and Technology of the Republic of Indonesia, and is also supported by the Agribusiness Study Program and the Faculty of Agriculture, Universitas Padjadjaran. Through this initiative, we hope to strengthen international collaboration and create meaningful connection that continue beyond today's seminar. As we all know, food systems around the world are facing increasingly complex challenges, from climate change and supply chain disruption to rapid technological transformation and sustainability concern. None of these challenges can be solved alone. They require cooperation, mutual learning, and strong partnership among universities, industries, government, and communities across country. Therefore, I sincerely hope this seminar become not only a forum for exchanging ideas, but also a space for building lasting friendship, inspiring the collaboration, and creating a positive impact together in the future. Finally, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to the Minister of Higher Education, Science and Technology, PDP, the Dean, the Faculty of Agriculture, the Directorate of Academic Affairs of Universitas Padjadjaran, all speakers, collaborators, committee members, and participants for your support, enthusiasm, and contribution to this event. I wish all of you an enjoyable seminar, meaningful discussion, and hopefully many new friendship and collaboration ahead. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Prof. Tommy Perdana, for your welcome remarks. Now, we kindly invite the Dean of the Faculty of Agriculture, Universitas Pajajaran, Dr. Ahmad Haibar Tridakusuma, to deliver the opening speech. To Dr. Ahmad Haibar Tridakusuma, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Distinguished speaker, respected college honor guests and student, both graduate and postgraduate. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi, good morning, and a very warm welcome to everyone. On behalf of the Faculty of Agriculture, Universitas Pajajaran, it is my great pleasure and honor to welcome you to the international seminar on the enhancing sustainable and digital food system. First and foremost, I would like to express our sincere appreciation to our distinguished speaker, Pak Prof. Heri, terima kasih, dan also Associate Professor Prof. Ramadona, and also Associate Assistant Professor Koblat Chandra Sap from Chiang Mai University is kindly joining us online today. Thank you very much. Also, thank you for joining us and for sharing your expertise and valuable insight with participants from various institutions and countries. As an academic institution, the Faculty of Agriculture, Universitas Pajajaran, remains committed to supporting research, innovation, and partnership that contribute to sustainable development and global food security. And we believe that digital transformation and sustainability must go hand in hand in shaping the future of agricultural and food system. I hope this seminar will provide meaningful discussion, inspire new ideas, and open opportunities for future collaboration. Finally, I would like to thank to the organizing committee, speaker, participant, and all parties who have contributed to the success of this event. With that all, I officially open and welcome you all the international seminar on enhancing sustainable and digital food system. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Dr. Ahmad Haibar Tridakusuma, for the meaningful opening speech and for setting a strong foundation for today's seminar. Now, we will proceed with a group photo session. We kindly invite all participants to stand up and move toward the center area to the center. So everyone is clearly visible in photo. Please rise. Ya, biar to all participants, please stand up and move to the center area.
Okay, everyone, can you stand up, please? Yeah. And for the left and right side, you can forward, go to the middle of this room. So your face will be recognized in the camera, right? Okay. Okay, ready? Mau di? Oh, boleh di tengah. Di tengah ya? Boleh, apa? Mau dikit? Oh, iya. Boleh geser, ya, geser ke tengah. Nah, in the middle. Iya, Bapak. Nah, bisa, oke? Okay, all of you ready? I'll count 3, 2, 1. Every oh, in the middle. Okay. 3, 2, One, cheers. One more. Oh, yeah. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. Cheers. Okay. Okay, finish? Okay, thank you very much. You may have a seat.
And also, welcome to all participants who are joining us in Zoom and also in Balai Sawala. Now, we will transition to the next part of the programs, which will be led by our moderator. Allow me to briefly introduce our moderator for today's seminar. Dwi Novandasari, Master of Science, earned her master degree in Agro-Industrial Technology from Universitas Gadjah Mada. Her research interests include agro-industrial technology, industrial system and management, and also agribusiness and entrepreneurship. Throughout her academic and professional career, she has been actively involved in International Office of Vocational School Universitas Padjadjaran, Grantee of Innovokasi Creative Innovation Program for Vocational Partners, Marketing, Partnership, and Business Development Manager of Unpad Luhung. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our moderator, Dwi Novandasari, Magister of Science, to officially begin the seminar.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Master of Ceremony. Good morning, everyone. I can hear your voice here. Good morning, everyone. Okay, thank you very much. Distinguished Dean of the Faculty of Agriculture, Universitas Padjadjaran, respected speakers, honored guests, all lecturers, students, and all participants who joining us today online and offline here in Balai Sawala Universitas Padjadjaran. Good morning. My name is Vanda. I'm a lecturer in study program of agriculture, agrotechnopreneurship in Vocational School Universitas Padjadjaran. And it's an honor for me to serve as a moderator for this great seminar. And today's seminars will highlight how the sustainability, the digitalization and innovation shaping the future of agribusiness and food supply chain system globally. And we are privileged, we have 3 honor distinguished speakers. The first one is Associate Professor Fariji from Edith Cowan University, Australia. The second, Associate Professor Ramadona Seville from Tokyo University of Agriculture, Japan. And the third speaker, Assistant Professor Dr. Koblar Chandrasap from Chiang Mai University Business School, Thailand, who will joining us later via online Zoom meeting. Before we begin, I'll explain the flow of our discussion today, our session. Each speaker will present their presentation approximately 30 until 40 minutes. And at the end of the session, followed by the discussion and Q&A session at the end all of the presentation. So you may prepare your notes to take notes what you want to ask to the speakers, because we invite them through Australia, Japan, and also Thailand. So this is a very privileged opportunity for us to learn from them. Okay, without further ado, I will introduce the first speaker. Our first keynote speaker is Associate Professor Ferry G from Edith Cowan University, Australia. He widely recognized for his expertise in supply chain management, logistics, digital transformation, and sustainable operation management. He is an associate professor at the School of Business and Law and currently a chair of Students' Appeal Committee at ECU, and he is a fellow of the Chartered Institute Logistics and Transport, and he also a part of the Supply Chain and Logistics Association of Australia and the Chartered Institute Logistics and Transport Australia WA Committee. And his research has contributed significantly to understanding how technology and innovation improve resilience and sustainability in global supply chains. Okay, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the participant, please warmly welcome our first speaker, Associate Professor Ferry G. How are you, Pak?
Very well, thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Maybe directly you will present your
Yeah.
presentation.
All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to say thank you very much, University of Padjadjaran, and also the faculty and the committee to invite me to present about the supply chain. As you know, supply chain is just my expert area for my research as well as for teaching. As the e-book moderator has introduced me this morning, so I don't want to explain about my profile. So you can see the first 2 slides is about my profile, basically, okay? I'm from School of Business and Law, Edith Cowan University, from Western Australia. So Bandung pretty much not really far from Bandung to Perth, right? So via Jakarta, maybe it takes, we have a direct flight from Jakarta to Perth or Bali to Perth. All right, so that's my contact details. If you really want to connect for research, if you have any questions, feel free to email me or to connect to my contact detail. All right, so I would like to talk about the supply chain in the context of sustainability as well as the digitalization, what we can learn from Australia, okay? Next slide. I better stand if you don't mind. Also, thank you also for online participant to join us. So this is the Hybrids International Seminar. So it's great to see the online participants as well as face-to-face participants. So this is about my profile. And next slide. Now, currently I'm doing a project. Next slide. Currently, I'm doing a project. It's the Australia Research Council project about the supply chain risks in international port, for example, like Fremantle Port or Port of Melbourne. The project is the explainability-oriented approach to manage dependent supply chain risks. This project actually starting from 2025 until 2027. So it's still 1 more year to go to complete the project. If you look at the second project about digital competency frame for Australia energy industry, my doctorate student completed that project. So we also produced 1 or 2 papers from that project. And post-COVID-19 projects, so 2 papers already published. If you want to read a full paper already published in the top international journal, and also the transport system investment risks, and also the project, Smart Cities project, food waste project, as well as the Rail Smart One Arrow planning support system. This is the federal funding from Australia government. So this kind of the list of my research so far in the last maybe 5 or 6 years, and all the project already produced working papers, journal articles, so everyone can read and can learn from there. Next slide. Okay, so before I'm talking about digital, so digital, first of all, we need to understand what industrial revolution we are now. So if you look at the industrial revolution, back then in 1850, this is the first industrial revolution, steam-based machine, the first industrial revolution in the 15th century, and then the second industrial revolutions when the first factory, electrical, the energy, mass productions. So it's a 1910, right? And then in the third industrial revolution, everybody knows about just in time. That time is a computer, internet-based knowledge research already. Thank you very much. Okay, so hopefully it's worked there. Okay. Oh, sorry, it's backward. All right, sorry about that, guys. So what we have, the third. All right. Okay, so the fourth industrial revolution, what happened? The artificial intelligence, and we have cyber physical system, digital platform, and, robotics, automations, electric vehicle, all right, is growing. So now we are in the Industrial Revolution 5. That's 2025. So now we are in the 2026. The framework for the supply chain in the Society 5 is an adaptive connective manufacturing system. There are several domains in the Industrial Revolution 5. If you look at the mass customization, so no longer mass production, it's a lot things we need to deal with the customization. Cooperation. So no one can just work by yourself. It's corporations, collaboration between man and machine. So you cannot rely on the artificial intelligence only. That's Industrial Revolution 5. We also have human interaction, the man, machine, right? And connected system. And the good thing is, for our topic, international seminar, is sustainability. Sustainability is still there in the Society 5, which is in Industrial Revolution 5. And human-centric. I really like the idea human-centric. So we cannot rely 100% on the machine. So still human-centric. And then system resilience. So if you look at the green color, we are in the Industrial Revolution 5, also the 5, sustainable, digital, and what we can see, resilience. Right, ladies and gentlemen? Today's topic is about the international seminar. So we have sustainability, we have the digitalization. Yes, this in Industrial Revolution 5. So well done, congratulations, the topic, the international seminar, okay? Right, so if you look at Society 5, originally introduced from Japan, maybe, but Ramadonas, you know that Society 5, envisioning highly connected. Everybody need to highlight that. Highly connected, technology-driven society that integrate physical, digital world seamlessly. If we go back to the supply chain, are expected to be even more advanced with a focus on sustainable, circular economy principle and human-centric design, okay? So we have that. Now, the next, if I ask you a question, some of you are a student here, and can you tell me when supply chain management was born? Yeah, it's the 1990s, right? If you look at in 1960, many functions in organizations such as forecasting demand, inventory, warehouse, production, marketing, finance, technology, information technology, storage, yes, transportation. So it's 1960. Then 20 years later, in 1980s, so we have the purchasing and we have physical distribution. Two combined into one, then we have integrated logistics. So, for example, if you apply the job, for example, you someone asking you a question, what's the difference logistic and supply chain? Don't say that they're all the same, okay? Logistic is a part of supply chain. Yeah? So look at that. Logistics is a part of supply chain, not the other way around, okay? So the definition of supply chain, I don't want to repeat. Everybody can read that. So many handbooks. According to my research, more than 29 recommended or prescribed books talking about supply chain. Domestic supply chain, international logistics, international supply chain resilience, supply chain technology, supply chain digitalization, agribusiness supply chain, agro-business supply chain, industrial engineering and operation management supply chain. So if you look at the definition supply chain, there are three, according to the definition supply chain, is a council of supply chain management professional. That's the first one. And the second one, the Institute for Supply, is from Houston, right? In US. So if you look at the three definition, in conclusion, I can tell you, when we talk about supply chain management, everybody knows the definition of management is we talk about planning. There's a design, yes, and also execution. Of course, we have control and monitoring the activities, the process, right? So if you look at the supply chain, next is very important. End-to-end supply chain. I'm giving you example about cereal company like Kellogg. And the next slide, I'm talking about the beef supply chain from my Doctor of Philosophy. I developed the Australia beef supply chain framework. If you look at upstream to downstream supply chain, you can see upstream, first tier, you got second tier and third tier. And there's a focal firm, what we call cereal manufacturer, the upstream, and then you can see downstream. First tier is grocery. Second tier, you got retail. So you got like what we call Indomaret, isn't it? And you got Alphamart. That's all the supermarket, retail, grocery, and consumers, which is the third tier. So you can see supply chains not only for product and services, upstream to downstream, downstream back to the upstream, but also information and cash and planning as well, okay? All right, if you look at the next slide, this is what I designed pretty much more than 10 years, or 12 years, the Australia beef supply chain structure, right? And you can see I published about beef supply chain management, more than maybe 7 or 8 papers. And then also I published paper about halal food supply chain, halal beef supply chain. Now, one paper already just published and accepted, funded by RGPI, which is Bank of Indonesia. It's published in Journal of Islamic Marketing. It's halal cosmetics. This beef supply chain structure, if you look at upstream, the yellow color, you can see breeding property, feedlot, sale yard, fattening property, and what is the focal firm? You got abattoir, slaughterhouse. And you can see for downstream supply chain, look, the supply chain for Australia, for beef, we do have the domestic supply chain for the beef and also international. We do export, live animal export. So we export live animal more than 41 countries around the world, including the processed beef from Australia. Okay, so if you look at blue color is the downstream. Yeah, everybody can see? Downstream, we have butcher shop, we have meat wholesaler, okay? And if you read one or two publications I mentioned, there are 25 Australia beef processing companies, the top 25 beef processors. Most of them from New South Wales. And also we have in Western Australia, it's Harvey Beef. It's not really far away from my campus in Southwest in Bunbury, right? So if you plan to visit Western Australia, please, right? Visit, welcome to Australia, okay? You can see from Bali to Perth, at least six flights in a day. From Bali, Ngurah Rai Airport to Perth. So I'm promoting Australia now, okay? So anyway, this is historical for Australia beef industry or red meat. Red meat including lamb, beef, everybody knows that because red color, not chicken. Chicken is not red, it's a poultry. Today, the Australia red meat and livestock industry contribute more than 14 billion Australian dollars, not US dollars, in the value added to the gross domestic product, highlighting its significant role in the national economy. Okay, that's the update from 2024 data. On the global export stage, the industry remains a major performer, generating around just below 20 billion Australian dollar in export. Can everybody look at export? So, in other words, we do very well for the red meat, beef export markets. Okay? Supported by strong international demand, record export volumes across beef, lamb, kangaroo meat. Have you tried kangaroo meat? Not yet. You should try. Okay? Similar like goat, kambing, yeah, in Bahasa, isn't it? The red meat industry contributes to be one of the Australia's largest food and fiber sectors. I can say that. I cited that one, the first. The largest in terms of food and fiber sectors. Now, how many employment in terms of people working in that sector? Just below 200,000 people, right? How many population in Australia? If you look at in the web page, just more than 20 million people. Maybe less than 10% of the total number population in Indonesia. Is that the Indonesia more than 250 million? Yes, isn't it? Around that. So 460,000 jobs across the supply chain. Yeah, it's a good opportunity for students working in that sector. 460,000, including you guys under agriculture or Fakultas Pertanian, right? So including farming, processing, and retail activities or process. Okay, so this is, I don't know if we have time. Can we click the video presentation? Sorry, can you click the video presentation? The video, please. Which is the 1, 2, 3, the third one from the top. Not that one. The third, the second last, yeah, thank you. So while we're waiting for this video, because if you look at DHL is one of the first, the national partner in Australia is part of the industry partner. I always bring DHL industry speakers in my classroom, okay, in Melbourne or in Western Australia. So DHL is my industry partner. So what you can see, DHL as a logistics service providers, the multinational corporations, they introduce what they call technology or sustainability transport for DHL. Okay, just have a look. That video is about like less than 6 minutes. Okay. Not that one. Is that the I think I sent you the WhatsApp. Just check. Okay, so while we're waiting, so DHL is one of the multinational corporation. You know, we talk about the downstream transportation companies, DHL, Lindsay Fox, Linfox, and Tolls, and they're all the third-party logistic providers, right? So,
Pressure to go green is mounting, but sustainability, especially in the supply chain, is
that one, okay.
I'm Brendan Coogan, freelance reporter with a growth mindset, ready to take on everything EV. And this is EV TV.
Don't worry, because if we because the time, I think the video should be next to it afterwards.
And EV logistics. Whether you work in EV
Not this
battery
one.
manufacturing, manage a car dealership,
About
or
6
any
minutes,
business
number
involved with the future of electric vehicles, this series is for you.
Okay. Ini sudah yang. Oh, not that one. Sorry. You can try. I think I don't know why it's changed. That one. That one. No, that one. What's the name? This one. That one. No, that one did. Oh, did you say the WhatsApp? Yang send it to you? Oh, okay. Don't worry, because okay. All right. So anyway, you can, if you have time, I'm more than happy to share my slides so you'll be able to see the video presentation. So the video actually, if you can see on the DHL webpage, and that video show that they're using the electric aviation when they distribute or selling, distribute, transport all the parcels to your home. They use is alternative fuel, right? So what happened with the geopolitics right now, the fuel prices, and DHL thinking about using the alternative fuel, right? The electric, the EV aviation, you can see that video presentation, all right? Next slide. So how long to go, book moderator? So I still not yet explained about digital. So still few more minutes, okay? Right, so if you go to the next slide, somewhere in the middle. Okay, so before I'm talking about our future research, and this is sustainable supply chain. So I published a lot of papers, sustainable supply chain. So I look at in Scopus, my Scopus list, the sustainable supply chain. I published more than 10 papers. Food waste, sustainable transport, sustainable supply chain for halal, for beef, and sustainable supply chain systematic literature review. This kind of the one part of section sustainable supply chain systematic literature review. So if you look at doing systematic literature review, right? In the sustainable supply chain, look at that. Everybody knows sustainable definition, right? Before we talk about the main topic of our international seminar, everybody should understand what is sustainability. Everybody know triple bottom line, right? People, planet, and profit, right? So you can see the sustainable supply chain is the set of managerial practices that involve the flow of information and capital among organizations along the supply chain, right? Not yet full stop. Considering economic, environment, and social requirement. If you do research, sustainable supply chain is not new. It's been a while. It's more than 15 years, I can tell you. It's not new. Sustainable supply chain topic is not new, okay? It's been a while. If you look at under Google Scholar or maybe Scopus, how many cited for this topic is sustainable supply chain, right? So you can see that. The next slide, this very popular, you know, many years ago, we talked about climate change. So it's not new, right? Climate change is not new either. I just give you information that supply chain generates 60% of global emissions, okay? And supply chain of 8 industry account for 50% out of that 60%. What I mentioned is food, construction, FMCG, fast moving consumer goods, fashion, electronics, automotive, right? Those sectors. Do you know ESG? This is quite new. In the past 3-4 years, just straight after COVID project, a lot of papers coming up about ESG in supply chain. What is ESG? ESG is environment, society, and governance, right? How can they do this in the supply chain in ESG? Everybody knows net zero, sustainable development goals by 2050. Okay, are we confident to achieve a zero carbon, net zero? A lot of companies like transport logistic companies, by 2030, maybe we can do better. Now we want to achieve by 2050, net zero. Okay. Second, circular and driving resource efficient business models and ecosystem. And the last is the trust, mitigating negative environment and society impact. All right. This is very important. So please concentrate this topic. The future research about digital supply chain. You know, these days we have digital twins, we have AI, we have machine learning, we have deep learning, we have robotics, we have automation, so warehouse management system, and logistics information system, and transportation management system. Everything is systems, right? It's a predictive, right? If you look at the research in sustainable supply chain digital, key area to address challenges, opportunity for sustainable in Australia, or maybe Indonesia, or maybe in Asia Pacific agribusiness context. Good for you when you do research. Good for you when you do master or PhD's topic. Good for you when you do 2 or 3 students can do digital twin and supply chain as a final project, right? Not you can't do by yourself. Maybe you can do 2 or 3 students for that final project. Now, digital twin for E2E. E2E is end-to-end feasibility. A supply chain digital twin in Australian agribusiness or any agribusiness is a real time. Can everybody highlight real time is a virtual model of the end-to-end farm to market system covering what? If you look at end-to-end for beef supply chain, cattle production, breeding property, feedlotters, including the storage, cold storage, you know, cold chain, right? If you want to sell the beef product, processed beef, and you don't have cool room or refrigerator, right? storage, refrigerated storage in your facility, in the manufacturing facility side is so you can't comply with the food safety and regulation. It's very important, cold storage, refrigerated storage, transportation, export, etc. Digital twin integrates data. Can everybody highlight data from sensors? What is the purpose of sensors? Capturing the data. Weather, maybe from logistics, capturing data, market survey to simulate scenario, right? Optimize the decision and manage risks. What kind of risks we mentioned about, like drought, for example, right? Flood situation in Queensland. Yeah, the flood is Queensland. And biosecurity, have you heard biosecurity? Yes. And supply disruption. So for Australia export, in orientation for agriculture, so I just look at so many papers now in the past few months, so I just read through. So it helps, number one, I guess, to help the traceability and tracking and traceability. And that's why we have barcoding, scanning technology to track and to trace, or EDI, electronic data interchange. Radio frequency identification is the old-fashioned stuff, right? And efficiency, dealing with the lean principle to reduce waste. You need to go back with your demand forecasting for the market analysis, yes, for the domestic or international demands, and sustainability. Don't forget sustainability. Recycle, reuse, remanufacture, right? And the responsiveness from my Doctor of Philosophy, I introduced one of the supply chain performance indicator for Australia beef is the efficiency, responsiveness, flexibility, and then quality dimension. I included the responsiveness still there because the supply chains need to be more agile to respond quickly any changes from consumers, from the local markets, from export markets, etc. Okay? And climate-sensitive supply network. All right, so what is the methodology, ladies and gentlemen, for digital twins? So I don't want to explain because it's just sometimes it takes me a lot for this because I want to give you very brief the methodology aspect for digital twin in the supply chain context. First thing you need to understand, how do you map your supply chain? If you don't understand supply chain structure, how do you implement the methodology like digital twin? How do you solve the problem? You need to have better understanding the supply chain mapping, supply chain structure. Who are your suppliers? Who are your major customers? And who are your transport companies? And who warehouse, storage, receiver, etc. Okay? You need to understand that. Scoping, mapping. Data integration. Every time you're dealing with the digital research, data-driven research. Without data, forget about it. Yes, data integration and then model. Model. I'm not good in computing studies, yeah? I'm not in computer science scholar. Supply chain scholar is a collaboration researchers like from supply chain or business school with the computing, from School of Science or from Faculty of Agribusiness, Agriculture, Supply chain, you cannot work by yourself. I can't do that for agent-based, maybe discrete events. I'm not expert. If you give me the score, maybe, 4 out of 10. It's very dangerous. You don't know how to do, right? You need to get someone expert in that model, but that person expert need to understand the mapping and the model, the structure, okay? Number 4, after you develop model, of course, you know validation, right? Validation, calibration, validation. I like the word validation instead of calibration, okay? And then scenario simulation, optimization, all the nice stuff coming, okay? After that, you can deal with the visualization. From visualization, your big boss, I can do decision making, that visualization and decision support. You with me? That's how it works. Supply chain digital twin. And then, not only until the decision support, something happen while you implement that, you need to do continuous improvement and learning, a continuous improvement, updating, learning. A lot of companies sometimes, okay, we can implement SAP, we can implement this, and something goes wrong, and they never think about Kaizen approach. They never think about the continuous improvement approach. They don't know about learning from the mistakes. Okay? That is here, continuous and updating learning. Why this kind of research is between 2 or 3 years sometimes? Yeah, if you got like multiple researchers, maybe you can do up to 12 or 18 months. It depends. You know, because it's a data driven. Next, if you look at data integration, traceability, other future research, you can do simple research like this. Climate resilience modeling, still lots happening now for the natural disasters, right? And policy and governance, this is not my area, unfortunately. Supply chain policy and governance is not my area. But I need to work someone from the scholar expert about the policy, mechanism, governance, as researcher about that. We can communicate. This is something we have a supply chain structure and what policy implementation in the country, what the policy implementation for export, for the global trade operations policy, yeah, for tariff, barriers, etc. Value creation. This is, I think I mentioned, it's a reducing waste, improving productivity, low carbon supply chain. So this research you can do maybe for 6 until 12 or 24 months, depends how complex your research. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there's a reference list every time. Please, everyone, if you do presentation, of course, you don't forget the reference list. Yeah. I'm a chair of student appeals committee. So many students. Okay, that's ChatGPT and Copilot. Thank you very much. You saved me a lot for my assignment. I copy and without checking the journal. Unfortunately, the machine learning AI giving you wrong. Because my students sometimes check, oh, this is the journal wrong. The journal is I published in 2022. Why Copilot they give you 2024? The volume's wrong. And my authors, they put my Jeffrey. My name is Ferry G, not Jeffrey, not Jerry, Tom and Jerry. Where is Jerry? Why Copilot call me Jerry? My name is J-I-E, not Jerry. It's wrong. You can double check tonight in the afternoon. Check the paper. Type with the ChatGPT or Copilot. You can use a Copilot. And then give me 2 references about beef supply chain. They give you do your assignment, I copy and paste. And what happened? Your lecturer marked your assignment is wrong. You have to check this, check with the journal database whether it's correct. You have to read the journal paper, the article, right? Go to the ProQuest, the journal database, yeah? I'm sure actually your university has that. in library. Talk to the library people. If you don't know, don't do any falsification and fabricated. You don't want to get your assignment 0. Okay? You do not want to be kicked out or to be suspended your study because it becomes a serious misconduct. Okay? All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the list of my publication related to sustainability. I mentioned to Padjadjaran University, if you're interested to read my paper about food waste and food beverages in hotel industry, supply chain for social media as well, and procurement, and green supply chain, supply chain, green supply chain, still sustainable supply chain, and supply chain 4.0, which is, nearly 4 years now, that paper, okay? And this is my paper dealing with the beef, food, retail, halal. So halal supply chain, I work very closely with Indonesia and Malaysia institution and Pakistan, Bangladesh, and they do a lot of research in the halal space. Yes, it's growing. Okay, tracking, halal logistics, halal supply chain performance, halal supply chain policy mechanism, and so a lot for this project. All right. So this, thank you very much indeed for having me today, this morning. So all the best to you all and good luck with your study. Thank you very much. So of course, I will take a lot of questions or feedback in the end. So I now hand over back to Ibu moderator. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Professor Ferry, for your insightful presentation. Please give a round of applause once again for. Okay, maybe you may come back and then. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, how is it? Very insightful, right? So please take a note and wait a minute for the participant in online meeting. You may also write down your question in the chat box and we will read it for you, or later on you can raise hand also for the participant online. So maybe next session, without further ado, I will introduce the next speakers. Our second speaker is Associate Professor Ramadona Seville from Tokyo University of Agriculture, Japan. Okay. So still young, yeah, in the photo. Okay. Okay, give applause, give a round of applause. Okay, he earned his undergraduate degree in international biobusiness from the Tokyo University of Agriculture in 2011 and completed his doctoral program first term in 2013 and ultimately received his PhD from the Tokyo University of Agriculture. And his research area is about applied statistics, numerical analysis, smart agriculture, and smart fisheries. How are you, Kang Rama? Yeah, I can call you Rama, right?
Oh, in the English textbook, I should answer, I'm fine, thank you, and you?
Oh, okay. Very well, thank you. Okay. Kang Rama, are you ready to present your...
Oh yes, I'm kind of nervous because I'm talking to Professor Ferry. Very insightful, very insightful.
Okay, okay, are you ready, participants? Okay, without further ado, I'll please, Kang Rama, your floor is yours.
Thank you.
Time is
Thank you.
yours. Please give a round of applause once again.
Okay. Thank you very much. So today I'm going to talk about digital transformation in sustainable agribusiness supply chain. It's from real-time monitoring to predictive intelligence. Okay. This is my picture. I have a real degree. I have real certification. Eh? Yes, I was born in Bogor several years ago. And I went to also IPB University. We call Bogor Agricultural University, but they changed into Institut Pertanian Bogor University somehow. In the same time, I also went to the University of Indonesia. And then I got someone who, was willing to pay for my tuition. Then I went to Japan, straightforward. After that, I worked as a research engineer in a private company. And then after several years, I went back to the academic world to be this lecturer. If you're interested, you can just drop me an email right there. A bit difficult, but if you just Google my name, there is only one Ramadan Safil in the world. That's me. Okay? Why are you clapping? I'm not sure. Okay. We are in the faculty of what? How do you define agriculture? Anyone? What is agriculture? Understanding something and defining something is different. How do you define agriculture? Oh, I bring this. Several gifts for you who are willing to answer. Sure. What? You want to answer? Who? Sure.
Thank you. Anyway, my name is Arya, doing my master degree in agronomy, specializing quantitative breeding under Professor Dedi Ruswandi supervision. Anyway, if you separate both that word into both words, agri and culture. So back in 11,000 years ago, right? So growing food becomes a culture. That's why we have agriculture. So growing food, agriculture basically is growing food that we eat, that we feed on our animals, and it becomes a culture. So it's culture. When culture is the identity, when its identity is part of you and part of a civilization. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. That's kind of complex, right? This is for you. This is for you. It might be a little bit dry, but if you scratch it 5 times, the ink will come. Agriculture, that was very complicated. Started from history and food. What about these clothes? Where is it from? Cotton, right? Is it food? No. But is it agriculture? Yes. So what is agriculture again? Very good insight, one. Okay. Let me show you. You see the pictures, right? What's that? A cow and also a wheat. Wait. Okay. Yeah, for some people, agriculture is the most comprehensive word used today. Blah 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 blah. Sometimes I don't really understand what it is. But to make it easier, agriculture for me is cultivating plantation and also take care of animal. Those two are agriculture, just to make it simple and easier. Okay, for me, to define agriculture is that kind of thing. Yeah. Okay, are we agree? Are we good? Good. Okay, another question. I love asking question. So it will be like two-way communication, right? Do you know what is digitization and digitalization? And how is it different? Anybody? Let's see. I have several. See? A bundle of pen. Anybody? Well, yeah, you can choose between these two pens. Which one you want? Are you asleep? Are you awake? How is it different? Some people use Google now. Well, that's good. Very sophisticated tool. But what is digitization and digitalization? Nobody? Guys, what about in online? Anybody in online? See? Understanding something and defining something is different. When you understand something, it doesn't mean that you can, define. Okay. What is it? Digitization is a converting analog information into a digital format. For example, after buying something, you get a receipt, right? And that receipt, you just convert that receipt into PDF. That's the simple term, the simple, example of digitization. And there is another one, digitalization. It's not the same. It's using, like, for example, the digital data or digitized data to transform and optimize business process, workflows, or maybe customer experience. For example, we have, converted our receipt into PDF, right? And, we can implement that using an automation, using, for example, cloud-based. We can track and approve the receipt without manual data entry. Is it possible? Yes. Right? So, digitalization is changing how we create value. Just to make it easier, we create a new effective way or new value. Okay? Are we good? I still have a lot of questions. For example, in Indonesia, we use WhatsApp a lot, right? Do you use WhatsApp? Yes, of course. Yes. Like, for example, in a rural farm, the farmers start using WhatsApp group to coordinate the harvest dates instead of paper notes, for example. Is that a digitization or digitalization or digital transformation? Which one is it? Is it C? Somebody. C? Do you want another pen? No. C. Why C? It's a process. It's a process. Nice insight. What about the other? This is not yet first time hearing, about digitalization, right? Or digital transformation, right? No? No, right? I see. That's a very nice insight. Okay. Let's answer. By the way, yes, I have another term. Digital transformation. We usually call it DX. Digital DX transformation. It's changing something. What is a DX? Yes, it's transforming something. And, there are several definitions. The strategic integration of digital technologies across all business areas, fundamentally changing operation and value delivery. And somebody else said that it's a business strategy initiative that incorporates digital technology across all areas of an organization. That's one of the keywords. All areas of a whole organization. That's DX. So for me, DX requires, the whole restructuring of the organization. That's DX. Including culture, strategy, value proposition, and it changes how business operates. For me, that's DX. So it needs to be the whole organization, not just one. Meaning, using WhatsApp for several farmer is a digitalization. Yeah. It's a very good step forward toward, digitalization. But through digital transformation requires changing the whole business model, or at least not the whole business model, but most of it. And a lot of, function in one organization. That's digital transformation. That's why it's really, really difficult to achieve, because you need to change the mindset of everybody and so on and so on and so on. That's the DX. Okay, are we good? Do you want more question? You're tired of question, right? Okay, let's talk about, agribusiness supply chain. Supply chain. We have several core elements. The first one is, of course, input supply. What is input supply? Guys! Yes. For example, just to make it easier, seed. You need to have seed first before cultivating something, right? You need to have what? Fertilizer. Right? You need to have feed for your animal, for example. Right, thank you. And then the process itself, production itself. After having the seed, you need to do the farming, cultivation something. Culture means, like, for example, aquaculture. By the way, aquaculture is also a broad term of agriculture, because you need to take care of the animal too. Okay? And also sometimes after that, you can just sell your, if you have an apple farm, you can just sell your apple raw. It needs logistic and distribution, right? For example, what? Cold chain. Professor Ferry mentioned about cold chain, right? Storage distribution, that's logistics, and transportation too. And then after that, I don't want to sell the apple as it is. I want to process it, like, for example, to be an apple pie. Which one has a higher value? Apple pie, of course. Yeah. That's why here we add value to make it more expensive, to make it more tempting, for example, cleaner, and so on and so on and so on. Just to make it easier, it's converting the raw something into market-ready stuff. That's processing. Okay? In some, cases, you will find another logistic and distribution too. Right? And then after that, we have the market, which is consumer demand, need and want. We need to know what they want, what they need, right? Are we good until here? Yes. Very good. Yeah, you still have more questions. In an agribusiness supply chain, which type of waste has the biggest negative impact on sustainability? Professor Ferry or Professor G talk about sustainability, right? So which one is it? A, B, or C? The biggest impact. You're a student, you need to think, right? Which one is it? Anybody? Hey, I still have a lot of pens,
Come on, anybody who wants to answer this question? I'll deliver the microphone to you. Okay.
Nice.
Okay, hello, my name is Nafil Faputra Dinur, and my answer is actually B, because I think the biggest impact for sustainability is actually waste.
Food waste. Thank you. That's a good insight. Nice thinking for you. Okay. Yes, the answer is correct. B. But why? Because, you know, when an agricultural or fishery product are spoiled and thrown away, 100% of the upstream resources are wasted. What is it? The feed. We have input supply, right? The feed or the fertilizer, the energy, the water, the land, the labor. It's also wasted, right? And you know, the waste itself can create what? Methane. Yeah? Is it logical? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. We call this as a multiplier effect. Yeah. And, you know, this kind of failure is usually happens because of the lack of coordination, the lack of information. For example, the farmer cultivates blindly. I went to several farmers or several, you know, fishermen too. Hey, when did you start planting your rice? And he said, honey, asking to his wife, when did I plant again? Wow. How many fertilizer did you use? Honey, he doesn't even remember. Yeah, unfortunately, there are a lot of that kind of stuff in the developing countries. We need to fix this, right? It's our job. Yeah? Because they don't know exact real-time demand or processor too. Sometimes they know that, you know, after Ramadan, during the big day, the price of chili pepper is increasing, right? They need to adjust, right? But, you know, our supplies is not good as well. But yeah, but they need to know the information. They need to, you know, use the brain to predict. And it's our job to assist them. Or for example, the aquaculture manager doesn't know what water quality parameters are shifting, for example. Sudden fish mortality occurs, and so on and so on and so on. There are a lot of issues like this that need to be solved. Okay? That's why we need the data-driven decision making, as Professor G mentioned. We need to have data-driven stuff. To what? To eliminate the blind spot that caused massive waste in the first place. Yes? Is it logical? Hopefully. Okay. What about sustainability? What is sustainability? Professor G mentioned about triple bottom line. What is triple bottom line again? Yes. 3 P's. Profit, planet, people, or you can just switch it around, right? Profit. Because sustainable is not only for the earth, it's not only for the environment. If you are talking about sustainability, it needs to be profitable too. So your business can last longer and longer, right? And then planet for the environment, people for who? For the labor, for the farmers, for the fishermen, right? Okay. And you know what is interesting? Several years ago, the Japanese government coined this term, sixth industry. They call sixth industry to shorten and improve the efficiency of the agricultural supply chain in Japan. But the question is, what is sixth industry? Anybody heard about this term? Nobody? Nobody? What about primary industry? What is a primary industry? What is a primary industry, guys? Did you learn about this? What is primary industry? Okay, what about secondary industry? I'm not sure. What about tertiary industry? And so on and so on and so on. Are you guys awake? Yes. Okay. Primary industry is, for example, this. The production of agricultural, livestock, forestry, and fishery. Yes? Secondary, what is secondary? Processing something. Processing the raw material. As I talked, we have an apple farm. Yes, you can just sell the apple as it is, but it's better to sell it as, for example, a what? Apple pie, an apple jam. We need to add value, right? And then tertiary industry is, yes, distribution, sales, and marketing, for example. And, Japanese government combined this 1, 2, and 3. You simply multiply them to become 6. And then they call it 6 industry. So it's integrated farming business, for example. This might help to shorten and optimize the what? Supply chain and also the sustainability. Hopefully, ne? Yeah, but why 6 industry? Of course. To boost profit, to cut down the costs, and hopefully the rural area revitalization, because in agriculture and fisheries usually is conducted in the rural area, right? If that rural area, can be revitalized, it can create, more optimization, more revitalization, and hopefully a sustainable supply chain, and the industry will grow as a whole. When the industry grows as a whole, hopefully it will, enhance the competitiveness internationally too. That's why Japanese government coined this 6 industry. Oh yes, that's very good on paper, but there are a lot of questions and issues. For example, first, farmers usually really good at, cultivating something, planting something, especially in Japan. They know about, making a very good, high quality product. They are really good. They are really, really good. Really good. If you have ever heard about Fuji apple. And then what's the grape name? The green one too. Yes. Sunshine, not sunshine. I forgot the name. Sorry, Japanese government. Wagyu too. Yeah, right. But usually they don't really know about the consumer. They know how to produce, but they don't know what the consumer wants. They don't know what the consumer needs. That's why we need to, help them doing the market research and also adjust the cultivation to meet the demand. That's data-driven, right? And also standardization, for example, establishment of sales and marketing system, and so on and so on and so on. Like, for example, this is what our group did. A very simple one. We worked together with a tomato farmer in the central of Japan, just very close to Osaka. It's called Nara. They're producing a very high quality tomato. Do you know the price of this tomato? Like, for example, the tomato in the box. In the box, they have 9 tomatoes, this size, my hand size, only 9 tomatoes. Do you know how much is it? Yes, $20. For 9 of tomatoes only. Very high quality, very, very high quality. Of course, they have profit, but they don't really know, the consumer satisfaction, what really consumer wants, what they need to improve, and so on and so on and so on. Yeah, and then they really want to know the most profitable place to sell. That's why we just, have these QR codes. That's what? Digitization. We want to know the consumer's perception, their image. their satisfaction. Yeah, a very simple one. A very simple one. Just put some label. And then we gather several respondents just using a free Google Drive. Just use a very simple statistics, and we know that the sweeter the tomatoes, the better. The consumer just really care about the sweetness. Well, not just the sweetness, but they care a lot about the sweetness. Some people call it bricks, sweetness level or sweetness degree. And they sell in several places, and the most effective one is in their gift shop. And then we also define the satisfaction with the correlation that need improvement, maintain status quo, and consideration too. We report it to them, and then they understood that, oh, okay, the sweetness level is really good, but we need to improve more to get more profit and more satisfaction. Because of what? Repeat consumer. Do you know what is a repeat consumer or repeat customer? Yeah. When we do business, repeat customer is really important, right? Yes. And also, this is just an average price of a tomato in the market. Our student did a survey. Yeah, her name is Amano. Just before COVID, the price for one bag of tomato, approximately 230 grams, it costs about less than $1 in Japan's market. That's different in Indonesia. I know. But the first, a big tomato. Yeah, we call it Momotaro tomato. Yeah, we call it Momotaro tomato. And then the highest quality of them, the bricks is more than 10, it priced $7 for one bag of plastic. Or yeah, in that case, it's in a box. That's why the sweeter is the better. And also, invite a repeat customer. So we understand, right? Yeah, we understand the sweeter the better. Okay? And it will be good for the farmer because they will get more profit. This is the second question. We already know that the sweeter the better. And how can we make the tomato sweeter? Oh, it's dark here. Okay. So we are using a very low-cost sensor network, just $200. Yeah, $200. Yeah, and right now dollar is really expensive, so it's not really cheap in Indonesia. But back then it was kind of cheap because in the same sensor like this, it can be priced like double of this. Yeah, we record temperature, humidity, pressure, CO2. We send it to our database, and then from the farmers we get fertilizer and yield data. We try to analyze how can we make the tomato sweeter, right? So we understand that after conducting this data gathering for 3 years, we understand that the growing time and cultivation time is really important for tomato. Meaning what? Did you learn about statistics? What does it mean? Oh, come on, this is a simple regression. Do I need to teach you statistics? See? Growing time and cultivation time. If we see the p-value, it's very small, isn't it? Meaning significant, very important factors. And then if we see the estimate, beta, it's positive, isn't it? Meaning the higher the better. Yeah? By the way, growing time is just, this is, if you have EC is electrical conductivity. This is the x-axis is just time, growing time, and yeah, that's growing time. Meaning what? The longer you grow the tomato, the sweeter the tomato will be. You need to learn more about statistics. Yeah, we understand that. And then we talk to the farmers and they understand. Yeah, and they are, starting implementing our research too, because we work with them. Yeah. So they try, making sweeter and sweeter tomatoes to boost the profit. Yeah. That's for upstream. So for small scale fishermen or farmers, digitalization doesn't have to be expensive. We can use a very simple and cheap sensor network to help them. And we need to connect the field directly to the consumer desires. It's what Professor G called data-driven something, right? Or this data-driven tomato. Okay? And yeah, for example, this is another example in Japan. You know what is JA? Have you heard? But yeah, Japan agriculture. In Indonesia, it's equivalent to KUD. Koperasi Unit Desa. We call it JA in Japan. That's the biggest agricultural organization in Japan. They are using the blockchain for the better supply chain. It correlates with 25% increase in the adoption of eco-friendly practice because, the farmers can finally prove that they reduce chemical usage to premium buyers. Well, in Indonesia too, premium buyers is increasing, I believe. If you see in the supermarket, a very expensive, like for example, kangkung, you can find a very expensive melon too. You can find it easily. And people are just buying it, right? This is one of the example of macro level supply chain transparency for traceability. Yeah. And I also believe that Indonesia doesn't need to slowly replicate Western or maybe some Eastern industrial history. But by using recent technologies like, for example, mobile networks, open source data, smart algorithm, I believe that Indonesian agribusiness can leapfrog directly to sustainable predictive supply chain. This is our job to do. Okay? Is it time already? 5 minutes? Oh, yeah, thank you. So yes, just the takeaway for today from me. Understanding something and defining something, is it different or the same? It's different. Try to define something by yourself, okay? After reading something. It might help you to learn. And then we learn about several definitions. We learn about a bit of agribusiness supply chain. We learn about 6 industry that was coined by the Japanese government and the challenge in the supply chain and macro level supply chain transparency. It's 30 minutes already in my clock. So thank you very much for, being here and listening to my talk. If you're interested, you can just contact me right there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ramadona Seville, for your insightful presentation. And we still have one more speakers. So, okay, you may back to your seat, Dr. Rama. Thank you very much. We still have one more speakers. Hopefully you can still have good, okay? Still awake, right? Okay, but we have another speaker in Zoom meeting. Our third keynote speaker is Assistant Professor Dr. Koblar Chandrasap from Chiang Mai University Business School, Thailand. Hopefully she already joined us in Zoom meeting. Dr. Koblar Chandrasap is specialized in sustainable brand marketing, consumer behavior, and food retail innovation. Her expertise offers important perspective on how branding and sustainability influence modern food system and consumer engagement. Okay. Hello, Dr. Koblar.
Hi, hello everyone. Did you hear me clearly?
Yeah, maybe can you more add your volume of your voice?
Yeah, do you hear?
Okay, that's so clear. Thank you very much. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Assistant Professor Dr. Koblar Chandrasap. Please give a round of applause. The screen is yours, Doctor.
Okay, just wait for a moment. Okay. All right, I hope the screen is clear and everybody's seeing this. Okay, if you didn't hear anything, my internet is not going well, so please just flag or maybe let me know. So good morning, everyone again, and it is a really pleasure, and I am so thankful to be able to join this seminar here. And I would like to say hello to everyone, you know, the people who are in the room and also everyone who joined me online here as well. And especially I would like to say hello to my co-authors, the researchers team that I'm currently working with from the UNPAD as well. So Professor Hesti and also Professor Devi. So say hello from here. And for those I haven't met you in person yet, so my name is Koplap Chandrasap. It is quite hard to pronounce in Thai. It's very long, so you can call me Casey. And I am currently an assistant professor of marketing at Chiang Mai University Business School in Thailand. So the work that I'm going to share with you today, it looks at the opposite side of the supply chain, maybe at the very, very end of the supply chain, which is the consumer side. It is the people who actually buy your products. Let's say the final user, we're using that word in marketing. So the final user, let's say like that. And the topic that I'm going to walk you through this morning is something I'm pretty sure that all of you, have all run into at some point, probably without even thinking about it. And we see a lot this day that, any business, they're trying to, touch upon a very, very hot topic, which is the sustainability. So it is everywhere. And anything as a marketer can be branded as a sustainable, or maybe they're trying to show a more eco-friendly side of their products or services. As you can see, like from the supermarket products, cosmetic industry, even fashion, tourism, even the nation branding. Australia also positioning as the sustainable destination as well. So everywhere, even a nonprofit business like education sector, the other nonprofits business, they have jumped into this trend, let's say, to make their product catchier or more sellable. And I understand that most of the business, they do it in a very, very immersive. They actually care of what is actually sustainable. But at the same time, there are also, several business who just, doesn't carefully understand, that doesn't actually understand what is sustainable actually means, how to apply to their business. And this is what we are going to talk about today. So based on the things you are seeing here, so we see a lot of, buzzwording that brand and marketing, they are constantly trying to, benefits from this catchy trend. They're trying to shape their advertising narratives, to look a little bit more, sustainable, or maybe a little bit more greener, something like that. And based on that, we see from the very left side of the screen, this is nothing new. So we see that this day in the supermarket shelf and everywhere, it is not about, being green anymore. But the trend is kind of moving towards the other label, which is the clean and transparent labeling. And we also have something that tied under the umbrella of the, the green thing, which is the health and safety labeling. And we see it everywhere. we have like, we see that this is a very highly attractive, catchy terms, such as 100% eco-friendly, close to the nature. And right now, the interesting is that when they're trying to sell the green labeling, this day, they're not only selling on the green things, but they're selling on the clean and clean labeling. So now you not only have like 100% recyclable things, but also at the same time, 100% artisan, 100% organic, and even claim something about health and safety, like child friendly, halal friendly, something like that. So these are all the things, anything that can be certified. So the market is trying to benefit on this. Yeah, and imagine like you walking down the supermarket aisles every day. Yeah, you will see more and more this kind of, products, product labels or packagings, selling a very, very high purpose term. And in marketing and branding, we usually call this kind of concepts or this kind of product and services as the brand with a higher purpose or a brand with a purpose. And food brands, of course, they're actually knowing this. So they're kind of trying to adapt their packagings, marketing campaign, marketing messages to look just a little bit more highly responsible, just a little bit more. And the things that I want to talk with you today is what happens when these claims, they go too far. So the problem is that when the companies, they kind of overlook or overfocus on this claim without, providing a concrete evidence, they ended up creating something that we call in the academic term as the healthy halo or green halo or the green illusion, just right in front of that box or in front of that product labels. And this creates a very, very dangerous gap between what the brand actually promises and what the customer actually experiences. And we see a lot the things that, even though the research today that I'm going to share with you is touch upon the cosmetic packaging level, it also applies with the same logic with the food and drink industry. And this is kind of happening a lot, as a major, especially within the food and drink companies. And this is exactly where the risk of the overclaims, begins. And it is what my research touches upon. And if you're following the news, I think a couple of weeks ago, the EU, they're starting to enforcing a much, much stricter rules on the companies, especially within the food and beverages industry. So now brand in the EU, they can no longer use like, a very generic terms that claiming you are very sustainable, you are positive, you are care, you helping the world to fixing the environmental problems. If you don't have, or if you can't provide a very, very concrete evidence. So you cannot claim the carbon offset levels on your packages unless you provide a verified data to back it up. And in the UK as well, I think they have something called like Green Claim Code, something that they're trying to stop this by using a more stricter checklist or heavily fine. But in Thailand, let's say now we do have a green label, but they don't cover the food and beverages sector. They do have the other ones that is, dealing with the food and beverages. And now the trends in Thailand, we don't look at the green things when we're talking about sustainability label. But I think most of the products are now trying to tie it into a more clean level at the same time as well. And because I'm a digital consumer researcher, so the topic and the research that I am currently looking on, so I try to look beyond such or those regulations. So I want to see what happened next, like what marketers actually do to fix or to avoid this kind of damage. And especially once the brand get caught out, how do customers actually behave? Do they ever give the brand a second chance to win back as customers? And if they do, what specific group of customer, which segment do the brand need to win their back first? Which segment is the easiest one for brand, to take them back, to win their hearts back as the customers? So in the academic term, in the marketing literature, we dealing with the literature, we call it as emotional disappointment. So how such emotional disappointment could translate into a real financial damage. So this is the things that I am trying to showing to you. Okay. And on your left side, this is a piece of the research that I co-authored with the colleagues in the UK. There are a few UK academics who working on this project, which was published in the JBR, I think in the late of 2024. And for those of you who are interested in sustainable brand communication, I think this work kind of helping you grounding or gain a more understanding in terms of the topics that, help you uncover what actually happens behind the scene when brand making such very grand promises, but they cannot fulfill such customer expectation. So the research that we're going to talk about now, we look at how a gap, between the word and the reality can completely backfire on the brand. And we also looking at the specific customer groups, what kind of segment who are actually willing to give a brand a second chance, and most importantly, how business can talk about sustainability safely without overclaiming or overselling it. Okay, so to put it simply, my research, I'm trying to get a more understanding of the phenomenon here. We're using the word in academic as the disinformation. So what would be the things that could happen when the company, they faking or they're communicating something that is, unreal, something that is not truth, and the users or the customer, they found out this thing whether from the food packages, from the product labels, or even within their advertising messages. What could be the perceptions of the customer and their reactions towards such marketing campaign? And does the online marketing campaign actually translate into a financial damage? Do they causing the sales drop, or the customer just, they just complaining online and they move on? So it doesn't cause any financial damage at all. So we want to explore on such thing. And to guide our study, so these are 4 main research questions. So firstly, we're trying to look at what actually happens to the brand that they claim themselves as a socially responsible brand. Yeah, what happened to their actual sales when it get caught lying to the public? And do customers or the market, I saying this word, do they react differently between, when they perceive the brand behave as the disinformation or the disinformation? So we're going to discuss next that do they actually manage to distinguish between what is disinformation and what is misinformation? And once they perceive such thing, do they behave differently? And our third question is look a little bit more deeper to the psychological dimension of the consumer, which is once they found out that they has been tricked. So what would happen, and can we win a second chance from them? Can we win them back as the customers? And which segment or which group of customers are the easiest one that brand can, reaching out to talk to them to win them back in order to helping them reducing the sales drop. Okay, so why this kind of research? Why this type of questions? So right now, I think during that time, most research they look at, usually you look at how individual customers, so regular people, they spread a very negative information towards the brand. Normally, when we're talking about fake news or the negative information towards the brand, it is one particular customer, so one group of actors who is spreading a negative information towards the brand. But at this time, it looked the other way around. So how about the brand itself? The brand is the one who intentionally, manipulate customers or maybe trying to sell something that is not true. So they make consumer suspicious and create a skepticism towards the brand. What if the brand itself? So we do not know what happened when the brand themselves lies and sharing such a misleading information. So this is the gap that we are currently spotting on. And then importantly, when we're talking about the disinformation, the misinformation literature, they usually apply within the political marketing, right? A health marketing when you claim about the drugs, the medical things, but rarely they're mentioning or they're exploring a green marketing, something that is, you're selling upon, the things that you want to be a hero, saving the world, you're helping the world to be in a better position. So we looking on that context as a gap as well. And also with that gap, okay, to helping us understand more and to helping us to actually find the answer to our research questions. So these are two theoretical grounding that we use to, to exploring here. So the first one is we're using a main theoretical which is based on the psychology. So which is the EDT, the expectancy disconfirmation theory. So we choose this theory as the main theoretical grounding because it's kind of perfectly help us to explain how people feel when realities or the things that they receive doesn't match their expectations. So it's like it's a psychological framework that looks directly and help us to explain consumer reactions towards the dishonest marketing marketing when marketing do something as a misleading messages. So and also we drawing from another literature which is the brand disinformation as well. So when brand trying to manipulate with intentionally manipulate customers. So these are the two theoretical grounding that we are using. And as you can see here, another contribution is that normally when we're talking about, deceptive, misleading marketing, these are all the four terms, the conceptual thing that's totally different. So they are closely related, but it doesn't communicate it at the same thing. So we have deceptive, misleading marketing, fake news, also the other things, and the mis and disinformation. And we want to point out that the things that the sustainable brand trying to do right now is not a fake news. It's not just a deceptive, misleading, but it is actually the disinformation. So this is the things. And because we are exploring, the secondary data, all of the data we're drawing from the social media API web scraping. So the types of the data is not purely structured data. We have a lot of images, emoticon, textual data, and the phenomenon is quite new at that time. So we're trying to gain a more understanding through a qualitative interpreted case study. So we employ a qualitative lens to discover additional insights within the social media and the website data. So we explored it through the ethnography and mixing up with the data gathering through the web scraping and also the API. And we only look at the brand generated post online, which means we only looking at the marketing campaigns that they actually communicate directly to their customers, whether YouTube video clips, Instagram posts, Facebook posts, and even the comments beneath the types of the specific posts that I just mentioning. We also gathering that, and we use visual analysis mixing up with the thematic content analysis. And this is the thing that we are doing as a qualitative one part of the analysis process, that you cannot rely on the AI alone. So you need a human side as well. So even though I use the web scraping or social media AI in a responsible way, to API to gathering the data, you need to check through again whether the grouping and the things actually making sense. Do they producing something that is new, or it just repeating with the existing framework that is out there? So based on this, the key finding here is that, if you can see from these pictures, we divided the customers into 3 main segments, and based on their perceptions and their reactions toward the brand disinformation. And as you can see here, the things that we got is, we know that these 3 groups, they react to the brand differently. But the key point is, which group will be the easiest for brand or the companies, to talk with them, to reaching out, to communicate with them. And on your right side, we see something called brand negotiability. Which group is the easiest one for brand, to reaching out to them, kind of win back their trust, and the easiest one to negotiate, to win back. So we have like a continuum here. Okay, so for the key findings of the 4 research questions. So the first thing is, we know that there is a difference between the misinformation and the disinformation. So they perceive these 2 terms, 2 concepts differently. And because of that, they know that the misinformation is different from the disinformation. So when they act or when they react to the brand, so what they behave is totally different. And because of that, so do they willing to give a second chance? It depends. So we're trying to split the customers into 3 distinct groups. So based on how they judge or how they perceive the brand actions and the brand's intent. So we have 3 main segments based on, the things that they're reflecting online. And the most important thing is, as a marketer, we want to know and we want to actually understand that this is not just illusion. This is not just like online drama that, once they complain something, blah, 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 and then they just moving on. So it needs to provide a concrete, at least some logical reason that if such thing happens, the sales performance actually drop. So the first thing is, the brand trust is eventually, of course, they lost the brand trust when the customers perceive this as a brand disinformation, because they feel that this is very, very like betrayal. You betrayal from the person you actually trust into. And it's not only just generated something that we call here as a consumer backlash, but it directly dropped the sales. And during that time, during that campaign is on air, and we're trying to see how could this thing, affects the sale volume and everything. And the theoretical contribution here is that, firstly, we're trying to, distinguish within the disinformation literature that, okay, the things that brand doing right now, we call or we claim it here as a brand disinformation. It is totally different from the brand disinformation. And the other thing is, we're going beyond the things that we call here echo chambers. So we try to actually understand, the consumer who disapprove of this information here, whether or rather than echo chamber participants, we're trying to gain a more understanding, to unwrapping how consumers who say that they disapprove, who disapprove reaction to what started as deception. So we can actually win them back. There are a couple of customers, not couple of customers, the group of customers who look, who look at the brand in the long term. So when the brand does something bad, they don't just, okay, your package is really bad and you have a really bad intention. No, they look at the things that the brand do in a long-term basis. So they give the brand, they carefully assess what you are talking. Does it match what you are trying to do right now? So the things that we can have as a marketer. So firstly, of course, we get a new customer segment strategies, not just based on a very basic segmentation type of data, but we segmenting them based on their behavior because of their reaction and responses that they provided online. So it helps us gain a more understanding of what type of promotional narrative that we can use to communicate with different groups in a more effective way. And we also know that once we did something wrong, so whom should we reach out first and what kind of thing that we need to say more? What things that we can speak out in a more long-term basis, not just one-time things as a communication, advertising campaign, but we need to do it consistently, to make sure that if something happens, these are the group of people who still believe in us. And of course, because every research, we have limitation. So because it based on the exploratory, so we need a further, empirical evidence. And also the cross-context testing, maybe the logic here, that evidence that provided here, maybe it doesn't match with, when it coming to the other types of the claim that is not only sustainability. Maybe in the future, we have sustainability cross with the clean label, or maybe something that is right now, I am really, really interested in, which is like something called like Halal certified or Halal friendly, or even in Thailand, we're trying to, do a more research. We want to understand more about crafting, some part of the destination to be a Muslim friendly destination. So what are things that if we're saying like that, do we actually manage to provide such services? So the further research could investigate on that thing. And at the same time, look at how customers respond to the justification or explanation from the brand, regarding this type of brand, this information that we just identify here. And I think if you are interested to something that is not only textual or survey data, I want to point out to you to a more sexy topic here as a marketer. So it is about sustainability visual clues, so because brand, they're not allowed to talk directly, to mentioning some words about, greenery image, eco-friendly things, but what about the visually side? What are the eco symbols, the visual messages, the thing that you cannot say in word directly? What could be the things that the marketers or the products or the services could using that, in a correct way, in a positive way, that could truly resonate, that could truly connect with their target customers. So I want to point out to you to have a look at the, just a grounding study from the Getty Images. So they're trying to look at all the companies, marketing campaign. When all the companies today, they need to say something a little bit on their website that they are actually sustainable. So what are the images? What are the things that they put out there when they're mentioning something about sustainability? what size the picture that they actually, communicate to their stakeholders or to the people who are the target customers. So I think these are the topic that I think is going to be the next thing. Okay, I think that's done for me and from my side. So if you have any questions, so feel free to ask.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Casey. It's simple. I call you Casey. Okay, we will continue to the panel and then question and answer and also discussion session. The honorable two other speaker, Professor G and Professor Ramadona. I would like invite again in front of, and also Professor Casey is still in the Zoom. If you have any question, please raise your hand. For students in this Balai Sawala room, you can raise your hand and I will deliver the microphone to you. And also for the online participants, you can raise your hand or you can type your question in the chat box. Is there any questions here? Anyone here on offline? Okay. Okay. Oh, yes. That's great.
Check.
Okay.
Again, my name is Arya. Doing a master by project here at UNPAD in plant breeding, to be specific in quantitative breeding. It's interesting to have 3 speakers, one online. I have, maybe for now, I actually have questions, a lot of questions, but I don't think it's just going to take all the entire session today. I only have one question for Professor G. My first, have you ever heard about the current policy from the Indonesian government, when the government limit the market price of beef at, I think it was 62,000 rupiah per kg, per live kg livestock, a kg of beef, right? And that's a live price for beef. And then when we look at the production costs of raising cattle, especially because many of the cattle, I would say the majority of cattle that are raised and fattened in Asia are from Australia. I myself spent about almost a year, not almost a half year, in the feedlot industry. So I kind of knew a little bit about this feedlot business. But how do you think the government is doing the job, and Indonesian government doing the job in regard to the domestic business, feedlot domestic business, when they are enforcing this law, enforcing this policy to feedlot businesses? I myself had an experience with a local feedlot owner in Garut, I think, and she's running like about 15,000 heads of cattle. And I think last year, earlier this year, she had to sell her cattle for like 62 something thousand per head. And then she lost about 4 billion IDR from that sales. So how do you think is the current government is, I think it should be mitigating or kind of set up a policy for the cattle feedlots? So that's my first question.
Okay.
Number 2 questions for Professor Ramadona from Tokyo University. There are 2 questions. When you were testing the 12 crop cycles of the beef tomato, that Momotaro beef tomato, are you using the same variety of 12 crop cycles of your experiment, or are you using different, or are these results consistent toward different varieties or cultivar that you tested? That's first question. The second question is, when I was listening to your talk, your lecture, you mentioned that the farmers, is there a simple way for farmers to adopt or to transform into digitalization in today's day and age, especially with the use of WhatsApp and different communication tools that are now available? How in some simplest way that farmers can adopt? Because I myself started my own farm business. So I like to know your insight on that. So thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much for your question about the intervention of a government right in the beef. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a very good questions. This is related to the supply chain policy and governance in the area of the Australia or in the context of the beef, live animal supply chain. Now, when we talk about the government interventions with kind of the supply chain, regardless beef or any product or services, right? First thing, actually, this is what we can, tell the messages to the Australian government or to the government people, right? So the role of the institution, like what I'm coming from the ECU, and when I did my doctorate degree at University of Sydney, the role of the institution is very important actually to collect all the expertise, all the researchers, right? And this is the first stakeholders, you really need to understand the role of the institution, and they collect all the researchers. And number two, also would like to have whether or not we have supply chain association, right? In the country, okay? And number three, the stakeholders, what we can see, like any beef or red meat council. So red meat or beef council typically consists of all the feedlotters, backgrounding properties, all the farmers, cattle producers, right? They all get together. So every month they have like what they call general meetings, right? For every 6 months, they have AGM meeting, annual general meeting, right? Now, once you have those things, so normally what I established several times when I was at RMIT that time, I typically introduce what we call the Congress or symposium to bring the government people to attend. And look, because we need to think about the supply chain collaboration before we talk about policy and governance. And from that collaboration, and the second stage is about the communication. Because the intervention, the communications happening for the rules and policies, etc., they need to have better understanding what's happening. Okay. Number three, we also need to look at strategic supply chain benchmarking. What are the countries doing well? For example, I can tell you, Canada beef supply chain, dairy supply chain in New Zealand, beef supply chain in Australia, right? Brazil for the beef supply chain, in United Kingdom, and you have the tabulation, the benchmarking in terms of what the role of the government in terms of when you talk about the feedlotters, right? In Garut, right, for example, and how many cattle, and did they realize lost how much million or something when you come to the value of money. Okay, this is very sensitive area when we talk to the government people. And of course, you really need to have a very good approach before it comes to the policy itself. The end of the day, policy is make sure across the supply chain, make sure it looks consistent, right? Not being misused because of that kind of policy. Don't play around, don't make a mess, because make it clear, okay? We talk about the Indonesia, I think what they can learn from we can implement strategic supply chain benchmarking approach. in the policy or governance, and could be very good as a PhD study or master by research study. Supply chain policy and governance also very important. If you read my paper already published in 2022 about supply chain industry 4.0, the future research for that particular in number 4, I think, or number 5, because that one I used that systematic literature. It's published in Q1 under In the Science. Now you can have a look at that paper, and I in the last or second last page I mentioned about policy and governance, right? But not necessarily in the beef, right? Supply chain. And finally, you also need to look at that kind of messages. You really need to convince the government, make sure the researchers, the stakeholders getting involved. If you talk to the government, when the government try to just have the intervention and come to the rules. And of course, we talk about timeliness, because you can't simply talk to the government and tomorrow there will be piece of paper mentioned about the rules, right? It's impossible. I think Indonesia, you got MPR, isn't it? Like something like that. I do not know what the process in Indonesia. I forgot already. Okay, but you can see what other, and then what you really can learn the best practices from other countries. But again, the end of the day, is that something win-win situation? To me, the rules, of course, is win-win and also transparency. Yeah? Transparency. You cannot just play and seek. Umpet, hide and seek. At the end of the day, oh, you're wrong, right? And it's going to be blaming each other, right? And that's the trust broken, right? And the relationship broken. And it doesn't help for the supply chain, unfortunately, okay, for the business. I think hopefully I answered the question, but again, policy, is something is good for me for my research, but not if you ask me what the score, maybe 5 or 6 out of 10, because I really need to get someone expert in the business law, right? Or maybe someone from the FISIP, Faculty Ilmu Sosial and Politics. And the scholar knows about the undang-undang or peraturan pemerintah or rules or something like that. Okay? Because supply chain is supply chain. You can't simply, okay, government, minister, this is a problem. Can you make a rule? Okay? So tomorrow, can you please, show you in the Channel 9 News, because in Australia, we got Channel 9 News, Channel 7 News, what they call ABC News, right? And it's not happened, okay? Of course, you really need to follow the process, okay? So make sure it's happen. Sorry, hopefully it's answer your question. So thank you. Well done. Good question.
You're right. Okay, thank you very much. Good for you, because you've started your farming business, right? Applause for you. Very good. Not so many people started their farm business, especially from Faculty of Agriculture, unfortunately. But good for you. The first question, are you using the same variety in the 12 cycles of fruit tomato? Yes, we are using the same variety of Momotaro tomato. The farmers that we work together with only cultivated in the greenhouse Momotaro tomato and cherry tomato, and we are using the Momotaro tomato because it's more profitable, right? And the second question, is there a good way to adopt digitalization? That's a very good and difficult question. Yes, a very, very good and difficult question, because even in Japan, the technology adoption is very difficult. For me, we need to invest and we need to, work together with a farmer that really understands us. We need to take, our time to make a pilot project to make at least that farmer who work together with us successful. It takes a lot of time, of course. Yes. Money, time, energy, a lot of costs. But when that person has succeeded, other people will help, hopefully follow. They will just, oh, that person used the technology and he's successful right now. I think I might give it a chance. I think that's one of the way, but you need to invest heavily on that pilot project. And second, in Japan, even in our university, I can easily find a lot of farmers or children of farmers. Hopefully in Indonesia we can follow. Hopefully. And from education and training, I hope we can just make a better future for the farmers too. I hope I answer your question. Thank you very much. Very difficult question.
Thank you very much, Professor.
One topic for your PhD.
I think there is one participant in the Zoom want to open his mic and
How many participants from online participants? Can you please check how many participants? Ada berapa?
um 150. Okay, for Widi Rizky Fabianti, yeah, time is yours. You can open your mic.
Okay, could you hear my voice?
Yes, it's clear.
My name is Widi Rizky Febianti. You can call me Widi. I'm a master's student majoring in agricultural economics in University of Pajajaran. So back to the topic. To face the era of society 5.0, society must be able to balance the technologies with social life to solve many problems. So before we move on digitizing large supply chains, many farmers as producers had not yet implemented digitalization. Maybe many farmers abroad may have already adapted, but unfortunately, in Indonesia, many farmers still rely on traditional methods. However, the problem of farmers not switching to digital or e-commerce is not only due to technicals or digital capability reasons, but also because e-commerce cannot directly replace the role of middlemen or brokers. So middlemen are not only as distributors, but also as providers of emergency capital for farmers' needs. So the question is, what is your response to this, and how can digitalization solve these social economics problems? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Widi Rizky. It's about a short supply chain and digitalization intervention, but okay.
Okay, thank you. That's a very good question and also a difficult question. First, it's kind of similar. For digitalization, I think it doesn't have to be e-commerce. We can just start from a very simple way. Record when you started to plant, for example. I found that a lot of farmers, especially in Indonesia, don't even remember when they planted. Don't even remember how much fertilizer they used, how much cost they used to buy seed, for example. That's, for me, a big step is just like start recording. You can just record in your WhatsApp, for example, or if you have a little bit more money, you can just buy an apps or subscribe to an app. Like for example, 30,000 rupiahs per month to just record. Today I planted my seed. Today I use my NPK fertilizer for, like for example, 100 kilos. Today I sold my harvested tomatoes to whom, for example, for how much? I think that's one of a big step of digitalization for farmer. After that, we can talk about understanding the supply, understanding how e-commerce work. But first for me is recording your work. Because yeah, we cannot do a lot of before that kind of thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe it's very good strategy. Start learning from the small, right? This is keep simple. And this is the thing I remember when I was contributing, few times with the Indonesia government and Australia government. We do have very good bilateral collaborations, both countries. So Australia government, we have what we call DFAT and Australia Indonesia Awards. So that time, my university partner in Surabaya, Petra University, we we receive funding, and we give a training and workshop for the farmers in East Java. It's the coffee growers, it's a coffee supply chain, right? And then, look, we talk about digitalization is just too much for them because some of them, they don't even finish maybe high school, maybe, It's so important as a facilitators or presenters need to ensure, understand, right? The situation, the farmers. And what happened that time, thank God I can speak more than 5 languages. So I can speak Bahasa very well. And it's part of collaboration. I use Bahasa. Do not use too complex in academic. They don't understand, right? The way I presented, I just talk to them nicely with the farmers, one by one, okay? And then just having class activity. And then talking about in terminology, academic structure, academic word is supply chain structure. They don't understand supply chain structure. I just explain, from the coffee bean and then until you drink coffee, and then until they have a class workshop, until, we start giving the card, the input of blockchain, recording the data, start when planted, etc. Keep simple. They do this, and I walk around and see the class activity. Okay, we do first, second round, and also we have the marketing facilitator, researcher as well to give the workshop. Okay, and the thing is, you cannot give like everything in one day. No, of course, right? And the second, I collaborate with UNESA in Surabaya in East Java. So UNESA received, I think, funding, I think what they call sustainability development, I think Wakil Rector 3 internationalization, they introduced, and then we travel to Bondowoso, right? And then I just give half-day training and workshop about rantai pasok. Rantai pasok, be careful when you mention rantai pasok. What is a rantai pasok? They don't know, right? And you just, approach them, and then some of them, they have no idea. They don't be in the school many, many years. Okay? I'm so happy to be, to run the workshop with them. Okay? And the farmers, mostly they have, I think, coffee in Bondowoso and also cauliflowers, isn't it? And so many vegetable, right? Tomatoes. I love it. Even I really want to go back, right? And then meeting with them. And that particular event is opening by Bupati. Yeah, Bupati and also Menteri also having a opening speech actually through online. So hopefully maybe we can do the same. We start from simple, do not give so complex. Otherwise, the learning outcomes cannot be achieved. You really want all the participants can get something from you. Otherwise, you waste your time. And you waste your time, people cannot get it. Okay? But of course, you really need to monitor and follow up, right? And thinking about their learning, the journey of their learning, and look at the taxonomy bloom, right? Because if you give them and you never follow up, and then you forgot already, okay? So you really need to, this is what you talk about community services. I mentioned to any university in Indonesia, you've done very well, community services. Not like in Australia, not in other countries. But you're doing good job, okay, getting there, right? So don't have, underestimate for the farmers in Indonesia. They're working very hard. You have to appreciate them, right? Don't say that, oh, they don't know how to use the phone. They still can use the phone, right? Who said that, right? So we need to respect them and approach them, right? Visit them, right? Talk to them. Listen to them if they have any problem. All of you researchers, you visit and meeting them and listen to them what their problem, the challenges. Now your job, talk to the government, right? And then do research with them. Okay? A lot of data's there. You have to go there and don't be lazy. I love it to go to Bondowoso. Maybe I would like to spend more time in West Java. I never been, it's just only Bandung. Maybe Pajajaran can invite good researcher, international researchers. We go there somewhere maybe in desa-desa, isn't it? Villages in West Java, meeting with them. I'm happy with that. We do research together. We publish paper together, right? And we have a good research outcome. Sorry, too much answer. Right? Hopefully answer your question.
Thank you very much, Professor G and Professor Ramadona. And is it Professor Kids is still in the Zoom? Because I pick up one question from the chat box. It's about the disinformation about the branding.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you very much. The question is from Rama. Oh, it's just same name, the same name with the speakers. Rama, he asks about how can policy frameworks regulate digital food advertising to reduce the impact of disinformation while still encouraging innovation in sustainable food system? Is it clear now? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the sessions that we just listening for the whole three speakers, so I think it ties in nicely. So because of that, so I think it going back to the supply chain data. So if we could get, so normally if you could get like a real-time tracking data and the government or even the farmer or everyone wants that, we need a concrete claim. So when you're claiming something that you are 100% recyclable packagings or even 100% organic, something like that. So we need the data from the supply chain system to backing up such claim. And even the other things that we could do on the side of the advertiser is do something as like the online library for the ads. So firstly, we could starting from like educating the people. These are the cluster or these are the group of the ads that, it violates how you claim, you overclaim this type of the wording of the marketing ploy that you're trying to do. And this is not a good example. And what are the things or how can I say, the example of the best practice from the advertisement that is doing well when they're trying to claim something. But of course, so this day, every claims needs to backing up with the concrete evidence. And also when you're dealing with a different group of customers, they're looking for different types of evidence. So it's going back to the advertising and the marketing again. If you are trying to communicate with the people who are very, very, into that things. So they are looking for some numbers, something that is hardly scientific evidence. So you need to provide it. But in some cases, you probably need something that is more emotional side, but this is the risk or the gray area come in. So this day you cannot only generate something that is purely emotional, because when we are in marketing, we usually don't talk about the scientific things. So we will using something like, emotional things to driven the brand something, but that emotional side need to backing up with the concrete evidence as well. And we could have some policy or something that generate a baseline or scope that what you can say or what you can't say within the ad, as like a library, for the ads, that also the other things that you could have a look, or the government could look into. Yep, I hope my answers
Okay,
could
thank you very much. It's
provide things you're looking for.
comprehensive answer. Hopefully, Rama meet your expectation, Rama. Thank you very much for the question and the answer. Okay, is there any question from here? I have last question from the students in Bali Sawala. No? No one? Really? Oh, okay, great. One. Finally, woman.
Okay, thank you for the insightful presentation and discussion before. I'm Denaila as an undergraduate agribusiness student. Okay. Okay. I find it very interesting how sustainability, digitalization, and green marketing are becoming increasingly connected within supply chain management. So, however, I have one concern. In practices, many sustainability instruments such as carbon trading or IDX carbon in Indonesia seem to benefit large corporations more, especially because they operate more as financial securities rather than real commodities that directly impact smaller actors in supply chain. So my question is, how can sustainability, governance, and digitalization truly create fair, inclusive, and measurable impact for small stakeholders across the supply chain instead of becoming mainly a tool for corporations' profit, green financing, or even green disinformation? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Very good. This undergrad students has a very valid and academic excellence questions. Yeah, well done. This become your topic for your research. Okay.
Yes.
And just remember when you do research, if you do your undergrad, final project, master by research, and PhD, of course, you have to think about the scope of your research. Okay. If you do sustainable and then digitalization and supply chain, you do in a one, and your title like this is going to be forever for your thesis. Why? It's too broad. That's number one. Number two strategy, we're talking about limitation of your study. Okay. You mentioned about the sector. Are you talking about agribusiness? And agribusiness, there are 3 different level or 4 different level. It's a family farmers, micro, small, medium enterprises, or are you talking, multinational corporations? Number 3, Okay, so it is quite different, right? And the supply chain collaboration is a one angle of the research as well in that particular topic of sustainable and digitalization. Digitalization, technology in supply chain, another research is about technology readiness, technology adoption, another research, right? Okay, go back. If we focus more about the carbon training, carbon footprint, another topic. Is that right? Okay. And if you have another research, could be, there's a future research about the training, the workshop. This is about the professional development. It could be under business school doing it, not you. Let the other business school doing it, okay? In terms of the agribusiness, like agriculture, or you may be focusing on the sector. So you need to think about it. What is the first priority for Indonesia? Okay? Is that meat? Or is that fresh produce? Is that rice? Is that dairy? Yeah. And then go back with the national strategic priority for Indonesia. I heard ketahanan pangan still, right? The top 3, isn't it? The food security is still top 3. Now, connect the food security with the carbon footprint. Yeah? And then you will find who are the expert in my faculty in my school. Approach them and we work together, something like that. That's it. Okay? I know the answer for your question is gonna be like maybe the whole day if I need to explain this area. If I know the answer, right? According to my research. Okay? So well done, congratulations.
Thank you.
Nice question and very difficult one. I always say very difficult question. But yes, I completely agree with Professor G. Your topic is just really broad. I think you need to focus. Yeah. If you're talking about carbon footprint or carbon trading, what kind of carbon trading are you talking about? Is it agriculture? Is it forestry? Is it fishery? And so on and so on and so on and so on and so on. That's first. And then where are you focusing your work to? Is it politic? Is it policy? Or is it supply chain? Or is it, I don't know, some other else? So yes, you need to right, carbon tax. That's also, money's good, money's good. Yeah, and I think we need like several days, I think, for me to discuss this kind of question. So unfortunately, I cannot answer you right now unless you start to narrow your research question first. But that's a very good, very good topic. Impressive. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your question. Okay, because our time is up, unfortunately, but you can reach out to our 3 speakers. Okay, you have taken note, right? Okay, okay. Okay, prepare for exam. Open your piece of paper. Oh no, okay, it's just kidding. Okay, okay, thank you very much once again for our distinguished speakers, Associate Professor Ferry G, Associate Professor Ramadana Seville, and also Assistant Professor Dr. Koblab Chandrasap from Chema University. Allow me to briefly summarize our discussion session and our seminar session. That the first is digital transformation plays an important role in improving efficiency, transparency in a food system, and also the sustainability must be integrated in every stage of the agricultural system and the food system. Okay, okay, and I hope this today's seminar will inspire our future research collaboration and academic partnership and also innovation development among other stakeholders. Thank you very much for the opportunity to become moderator in this great seminar and also with the great speakers. I will hand over to the Master of Ceremony. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you to our moderator for leading our discussion today. As we come toward the conclusion of today's program, we would now like to present a token of appreciation to our distinguished speakers. The token of appreciation will now be presented by Dr. Agriani Hermita Sadeli to Dr. Agriani and to Prof. Feriji and Prof. Ramadona. And to Assistant Professor Dr. Koblar Chandras Sarp and via Zoom, their certificate will be sent to, give applause to Assistant Professor Dr. Koblar Chandras Sarp for joining us via Zoom. And now to all participants who are joining via Zoom and those attending offline at Balai Sawala, please fill the attendance form by scanning the QR code that will be displayed. I will give you 5 minutes. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our seminar for today. On behalf of the organizing committee, we extend our deepest gratitude to all speakers and participants who joined on Zoom and also at Balai Sawala. Thank you for your active participation and we wish you a pleasant day ahead. Thank you for me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.